I'm Louis Johnson, CEO, President of Alelo. We are a company that develops serious games for learning communication skills. We create games for learning foreign languages, foreign cultures, and they're being used widely across the military and across the world, actually. You may have heard of our VCAT cultural awareness trainers, which are one of the best examples of a simulation game-based training solution that's being used for learning cultural skills currently. So I'll give you a quick example here. This is from one of our VCAT courses. This is actually a mobile version here. You can get this onto your iOS device or Android. And to show you that this is some of the most rich interactive learning experiences available on a mobile device currently. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to engage in a conversation with a village elder who's actually running in software here on the device. So I'll start things up. I'm about to sit down here, and I have to speak Pashto to go through this. So I will say in Pashto, Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Hello to you as well.
So you may have heard, he responds. And then I can choose appropriate gesture, palm over heart gesture. I can introduce myself, basically go through all the things that you would go through in a real situation like this to develop rapport with the local people and discuss a joint project together. What I'm now going to show you is a bit from what we call our tactical interaction simulator. This is a web-based training tool that we've developed, and the course here we have developed for the Australian government for use at the Defence Forces Language School. And what this does is it puts the learner in situations where they have to use their language and culture skills in various kinds of tactical interactions. So here, this scenario takes place in East Timor, and the soldier playing on the left has to explain to this fellow that this area here is off limits. He's going to have to go around and find another way to get to his job. And this is spoken interaction here. The learner clicks, speaks in Tetum, the language of East Timor, and the character understands and responds accordingly. So you can see that we get a simulation, fairly realistic simulation of the kind of interaction that takes place in a situation such as this. And the learner has a number of objectives that he needs to meet here. And we actually can evaluate them and score them on their cultural skills, their language skills, the variety of language that they actually employ. This helps us to make sure that they're not just memorizing a script to get through the game, but they're actually learning a language skill. They are learning to master the skills that we're trying to teach them. This is one of our best examples of a serious game that we refer to as hitting the sweet spot of learner motivation, where the intrinsic motivation of learning the subject matter aligns with the extrinsic motivation of game scoring. So learners are motivated not just to play the game and to score points, but actually to learn the skills that are embedded in the game. And you see here actually an assessment that we provide to the learners where we give them a scoring of what objectives they've met, what their language proficiency was, so they can see how well they're doing, and they can then be motivated to continue to raise their score. And as they continue to practice and raise their score, they get progress toward proficiency and skills that they can then apply in the real world situation.
Excellent. I have one question for you.
Yes.
In the future, in a year from now, what feature in the software do you see developing for increasing the levels of interactivity in this type of software?
One thing that we see as a big trend going forward is to embed this kind of conversational agent technology, or what we call virtual role player technology, in simulation-based training across the military. This is a big trend that we see going forward. As with drawdowns of budgets, it's not possible for the military to hire live role players to go through scenarios. So we need virtual role players who can play those roles in realistic training scenarios to make the virtual environment as realistic a training environment as these live field training exercises they currently undergo. So we are developing a product called VRP, which plugs into VBS2 and provides these kinds of non-kinetic or non-lethal interactions, as they're sometimes employed, so to integrate that into the overall training experience. We also are continuing to move forward with our mobile training capability because we see a big future of the mobile devices as being a training vehicle, providing more of that kind of interactivity as well as the analytics of assessing trainee performance. We see that as essential for motivating the learners to improve their performance, as well as to provide trainers the information they need to track the progress of the trainees through the learning. We think this is going to have a big impact in the way training is conducted going forward. And I think that transition is going to happen fairly quickly once this technology gets out there.